The content in this magazine could contain references of topics and difficult subject matter that may be triggering. Please honor yourself, inner knowing, and proceed with whatever help or guidance you feel is intuitively aligned. Welcome to Sovereign Magazine Podcast. I'm Nicole George, CEO and founder of Sovereign. I'm so happy you are here. We are the magazine, podcast, and community guiding 5 million women to their sovereign selves. From heart-led conversations to magical meditations, our inspiring guests will show you how they can help you step into your sovereign self. Are you ready to listen to your inner voice and step into your power? Then keep listening to hear all of the intuitive messages meant for you today. So today I have the privilege of reconnecting with Chris Melville, Sovereign Magazine's in-house coach. Alongside her transformative coaching sessions and workshops for the Sovereign Magazine community, she also runs a thriving coaching practice and is a certified rapid transformational therapy practitioner. With over 30 years of experience, she is passionate about empowering women to overcome mindset challenges and build thriving businesses. She is a true expert in personal empowerment and helps others step boldly into their power. Welcome back, Chris.
Oh, well, hello, Nicole. It's so lovely to be back.
I love what we're talking about today, which is finding balance, which is our April full moon issue. And in your article, Your Business Isn't Your Baby, Finding Balance in Solopreneur Life, you really help us all explore this all-encompassing, all-consuming nature of early entrepreneurship and how the promised freedom can quickly disappear when we wear every single hat in our business. So why don't you share a little bit more about this concept and why you wrote it?
So I wrote about this because so many of my clients come to me and even people I meet networking and they refer to their business as their babies. And I get that. It's like, we're growing something, we've created it, we're growing it, we're nurturing it, we're watching it evolve. So the similarities are there. We kind of forget like the other side of having babies. I remember when my daughter was born and the first time I tried to leave the house. And it took me forever. I had to like pack all the nappy bag and everything, pack some spare clothes because we were out for a couple of hours, all the little burping cloths and all of that. And I was getting everything loaded into the car. And then she started screaming and she was hungry and I had to feed her. And then, of course, she, filled up her nappy and her nappy leaked and I had to clean her up and I had to change her clothes. And honestly, it took me like 2 hours just to get out of the house, right? And I was exhausted because she didn't sleep. And there's that downside. It's like, it's my baby. It's so lovely. And it's like, what about all the awful bits about having a baby? The lack of sleep and the not being able to get out of the house and, the constant exhaustion. And how many times were you washing? It's a laundry a day did you do? In a way, it is similar to that, baby, and there's the good side and the bad side. But when we refer to it as our baby, it just means we're pouring everything into it to the detriment of ourselves, the same way we do in motherhood, especially in the early days, right? You eat whenever you can grab food, and you're probably not eating very nutritiously. You sleep when you can barely manage to sleep. And it is just that concept of we pour from an empty cup when we have kids. And we cannot do that as a business owner because if you're running your own business, you are your business's biggest strength because you know exactly what it offers. You know what you're doing. You are the face of the business. You are your business's biggest weakness because if you burn out, if you're too exhausted to function, there is nobody to pick up and run with it and bring money in while you try and recover from that burnout.
Gosh, you're so right. I never thought about it from this aspect of looking at our business not as a baby. And I will say the downsides of having a child, right? Because many of us, especially I would say mothers, because I really truly believe that people who birth a child and have a child in their womb have a very different connection energetically to that child. Not that somebody who adopts or is a step parent can't love a child, because I full-heartedly know I could love another child that is not my own. But I believe that there's this energetic connection when you share bloodlines, if you will, in a womb. And I know that there are all these beautiful moments that I want to share about being a mother and, nurturing a child and growing a child and being so proud and all of those things, right? We want to talk about the good things, but you're absolutely right. We don't talk about the bad things. And I don't want to necessarily label them as bad, but the true things, because my husband and I always say, completely honesty with anybody who asks about being a parent, how incredibly hard and taxing it is, but it is the most rewarding job that we've ever had. My husband actually came home crying today because there was somebody at his job that he was training that reminded him of her. And he just kept saying to himself, if this was my daughter, I would want them to treat her with respect and love and kindness. And so I can see how if we made decisions in our business with a different mindset that was from complete emotion and love for our business, we wouldn't maybe always make the correct decisions, because sometimes we have to make really hard decisions, which I've definitely had to make in the business. And so how can we as entrepreneurs begin to harness this, not looking at our business as a baby, because like you said, it can be our biggest strength and weakness. And how can we start to really look at how we can be successful and learning to run a business from a CEO mindset versus a different mindset?
It really does come down to that. I have to work really hard to build my business. And I'm not saying that it is easy. I know a lot of people are out there going, well, if you just believe it's easy, then it will be easy. And I know we're all about energy and understanding where the energy goes, where the attention is, and all that. But there are very steep learning curves when it comes to running a business. And you have to learn those things before you can make your business successful. And in that way, it is hard to start up a business. And you have to accept it's going to be hard for a while. And there is a belief that it's harder than I thought it was, and I have to work harder in order to make it work.
So one thing I'd really love to talk about is how, when we decide to become entrepreneurs, right? We've decided to leave the corporate world and start this business. We want to give it our all. We want to do our best work. And we're having to decondition a lot of what we went through in the corporate world in order to feel like we are making our way, right? So I remember when I first started doing this business, Sovereign Magazine wasn't my first business. I, would work endlessly. And I came from a job that I would work 50 to 60 hours a week and was on call 24/7. And so my level of work ethic was defined by that. And when you're an entrepreneur, at least for me, I'm dipping in and out of my work. And when money needs to come in, oftentimes I feel like our boundaries get a little leaky. So what would you suggest for that person who might be freshly out of corporate starting their business? How do they balance all of that?
Inside the Sovereign community, you'll find more than a social platform. You will find many private spaces led by women who walk the path with you, like Abby from Canada. Connect with her in her sacred space called Reclaimed and Rise. Step into the Maven Haven with Ebony from the UK, or join the Open Heart Collective with Bonnie from the US. These are just some of the soul sanctuaries curated by conscious women for conscious connection. Come find your space inside the Sovereign community today.
It's really hard for people to do that when they're worried about where the money's going to come from. So if you've left corporate to start up a business, you've left corporate because you're like, oh, I want more time with my family, or my mother's really ill and I need to be able to have time to look after her, or I'm just really burnt out from working 50, 60-hour weeks. I don't want to continue to work like this. So we know there are reasons behind why we want to start our business. So we go off, we start our business, like, okay, it might take a little while for it to be successful, but I'm going to have all these other things. But if that success is taking a long time to come, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like by long time, I don't mean a year to come. I mean, whatever is relative to your money in the bank experience, right? Panic sets in. And when panic sets in, for most of us, panic drives us to action, but not necessarily to the right action because we're not thinking about it. So it is these things like we're not connecting to our purpose. We're not connecting to our vision for our business. We're not connecting to our values. What we're connecting to is, what can I do harder, faster, more effectively in order to get money in? And that's where a lot of people get into like a vicious circle, because then they start doing the busy work. It's like, I'm working 14-hour days, but that busy work may not be anything that's revenue generating because there's a gap in how to go out and find clients.
What I'm hearing from you, if somebody is a new entrepreneur, fresh out of the corporate world, that they need to really connect to their purpose, connect to their values, connect to what is lighting them up versus how can I get there faster? How can I do things to look more busy? How can I generate revenue in a way that's not lighting me up? So for anybody who wants to talk with Chris more about this in our community, she is in there, community.sovereign-magazine.com. All her details are in the show notes on how you can find the right action for you. This will help you get out of busy work and more into inspired action versus one that is driven by fear or money and all of those things. And if you didn't know, she is here every full moon and new moon. So definitely come back for some more as she has more beautiful insight. Thank you so much for being here today, Chris.
Thank you for having me. I'll see you at the new moon.
Thanks for listening. This is the last episode for this issue. I'll be back again on the new moon with another soul-led entrepreneur here to help you step into your sovereign self. Subscribe to our magazine and podcast and join our global community for all the magic. Details to connect with today's guest or join the movement are in the show notes. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a review. It helps us reach our goal of guiding 5 million women to self-sovereignty.